Hi, I'm CJ Hamilton. I'm the electrical safety trainer for the Inland Empire IELMCC. In today's demonstration, what we're going to show you is how to remove electrical meter safely and how to shut off breakers safely and how electricity is distributed through the panel. Let's start with the high lines, the high power lines. What happens here is the power comes in on the high wires, on the top wires, which are we're going to use the 12,000 kV here. They come in 4160, all these different voltages, but let's say 12,000. They come down the line and then they tap off the 12,000 volt line. It goes through the fuses and then comes up to the transformer, goes through the transformer, does its magic, turns 12,000 into 110, 220, 277, 480, depending on if you're in a residential or if you're at a commercial building. We're going to talk about residential today. So 110, 220 then travels through the entrance wires, goes through the service head. Now what I'm going to do is take the panel apart so you can actually take a look and see how it actually works. Okay, we're going to pull it completely apart. And what it does here is that it goes through the entrance wires to the service head, down through the service head, through the meter, into what we call the hot side of the main breaker, and through the main breaker onto the bus, and this is the bus, the silver things back here are the bus, and then it goes into the breakers, and then it goes into the lights and plugs in the house, okay? A lot of people think that if we're going to turn off power to the house to be safe, what we're going to do is shut off the main breaker. Well, that's great, except for the main breaker has something we call a load on it. And you want to shut that load off, because if you turn that main breaker off with a load, this is what's going to happen. This is a Jacob's ladder, and it shows you exactly how it works, what a load looks like. If you were to open that breaker with all the other breakers on, inside that breaker, this is what it's going to look like. Let me get it going. See that arc? What happens is electricity is always going to try to keep giving it electricity till it can't give it to it anymore, and it's going to make that arcing spot. Okay? If you look up here towards the top, I'll kind of put my hand back, you can see that electricity makes a bow. Okay? What's happened is that electricity is going up, it's doing everything it can't give it anymore, and then it bows. When it bows, what's it doing? It's looking for someplace else to go. That's exactly what happens when you open up a main breaker under a load. So what we want to do is we want to stop, we want to take that load away. By taking that load away, what we're going to do is come here and turn these breakers off. So what happens is a lot of people, they think that you should stand right in front of the panel and turn these breakers off. Well, what happens is, if you get what they call an arc flash or arc blast, which moves at the speed of light, burns at 35,000 degrees, and blows up with enough power that equals 8 sticks of dynamite, that's going to happen right in your face if you stand right in front of these breakers. There's no need to stand in front of these breakers. A lot of people that do this, is this it? Did we turn it off right? And you stick your face right in there, and there's no reason for that. Simply look at your breakers, get your hands up there, and then you're going to slowly turn the breakers off, okay? It's always better if you have a set of gloves on. I don't have a set of gloves on, but we should have a set of gloves on. Now what's happened is you've unloaded the main breaker, which means you have no more power going through this breaker. So remember when we talked about that arc? It can't arc because there's nothing calling for power. But you still want to be safe, so you're going to put your hand on this breaker, you're going to turn your head, and you're going to do something different this time. The little breakers you just shut off, but the big main breaker, you want to tell yourself, I'm going to move my hand as I turn this off. Because if there is a problem where it arc flashes, what's going to happen is it blows up, you're already moving with it. So you can put your hand on her. I'm going to tell myself before I shut off, I'm going to move my hand. Move your hand, that way if it does blow up, boom, and everything happens behind you and not in your face. Now that we've talked about the breakers, let's go to the meter, okay? Now the meter is probably the most dangerous thing to pull. You should never pull a meter. You should always have a professional pull the meter. Always have your utility company pull the meter. But if you do, I'm going to show you how, just so you understand what it's going to be like. Now, if you have to pull a meter and it's at the last resort, or you have to pull a meter because you're going to change your main breaker, because that has to be pulled when you do that. Remember what we talked about, shutting all the breakers off and getting the load off of it? You want to do that. You want to shut all your breakers off, have your main off. That shuts the load off of the meter, and you won't get that arcing effect like we did when we talked about on the Jacob's ladder. Okay, so I'm going to show you really easy, like I said, you get your hand underneath it, get the top of it, boom, boom, pops out just like that. It's just a socket is what it is, but the main thing is, as I pulled it out, as fast as I pulled that out, that's how fast this thing's will blow up on you. Because if you, for some reason there's some kind of a load and you pull it out, it's going to start arcing from here to here just like it did on the Jacob's ladder. Electricity's looking for what? Least path of resistance. As you pull it out, this becomes the least path of resistance. As you get it out here further, it's no longer the least path of resistance, but you've got an arc. And that arc will now skip over and jump over and hit the ground. Just like it did when it bowed at the top, that's what it's going to do. It's going to bow, go to ground, and you're going to have an arc flash, arc blast. Remember, always have a professional do this. Don't try to do this on your own. You do have to call the utility company to have it unlocked before you can pull it. The only reason that you would want to pull a meter is so you can change the main breaker. Because when this meter's in, you have the power coming to what we call the hot side of the main breaker. It's always on that side. It's always going to stay hot until you pull the meter out. Make sure that it's done safely. Be careful if you ever have to pull one of these. My name is CJ Hamilton. Thank you for watching.